Should we be forced to take on our parents' burdens?
You're going to college. The best thing you could do for your daddy is to keep being brilliant.
Rob Peace, now streaming on Netflix, is based on a book by Jeff Hobbs. It's based on a true story that takes place in East Orange, New Jersey. We got some heavy hitters in this movie, including Chiwetel Ejiofor and Mary J. Blige. Chiwetel, I really hope I'm saying his name right, also directed the film, okay? This movie, guys, it just really hit me in so many ways. First of all, I didn't know anything about it. I came across it on Netflix, and I saw Mary J. Blige, bitch, and that was enough for me to watch. So going into it blindly, if you've watched it, you could imagine that it was a lot to take in, okay? It follows Robert Deshaun Peace. He starts out as a kid in this movie, and his father is Skeet, and his mother is Jackie, played by Mary J. Blige. At a young age, Robert's father's house burns down, and let me just say, his name is Robert, but everyone calls him Sean. His middle name is Deshaun, so everyone calls him Sean for short. He was brilliant. At such a young age, the kid knew numbers. I mean, he was Jimmy Neutron, boy genius. Very much so. While Sean is still young, his father Skeet, played by Chiwetel, receives life in prison for the murder of 2 women in his apartment building, even though it was quite clear that he didn't do it. Sean's mom, Jackie, aka Mary J. Blige, put him into private school because she was not having him grow up to be like his father, who also sold drugs, and he did carry a gun around. She made sure that he was going to have a bright-ass future. She picked up more hours at work, and Sean, as brilliant as he was, helped her stay on top of budgeting. He even found holes in his father's conviction and wanted to help him appeal the decision and actually gets him out of prison, guys, okay? Soon after his dad is released, he gets into Yale on a full ride. Now check this, okay? His father Skeet called this a handout and wasn't crazy about the free ride that his son worked for. All right, Dad, okay, cut it out. All right, these are reparations. Please stop it. Okay, like what? That pride of that older generation, that shit, I am so glad that shit is wearing out. It is tired. Your son got into one of the top universities of the country, girl. Hang it up, delicious, okay? So his father's case was then appealed, okay, and he goes back to prison, girl. Sean goes off to Yale and one day receives a call from his dad, Skeet, from prison, and Sean tells his ass very politely not to call him at his dorm because he doesn't want all them white kids in his business. He didn't say that, but that's what he said, okay? And mind you, his father was only calling to see if Sean got a date for his hearing yet. It doesn't really seem like he was calling Sean to check up on him. Now, when Sean told his father not to call him and that he'll call his dad at the prison to talk, his father caught an attitude. And I'm like, I fully understand Sean, all right? He's the only black kid at this prestige university. He doesn't want his father in prison calling him and, you know, risking the possibility of his roommate picking up the phone. Like, your son is trying to live his life. He's trying to create a better life, not only for himself, but also for your motherfucking ass, as well as for Mary J. Blige. Okay, so let him live, and as he said, girl, he will call you. Sean learned quickly on this Yale campus that he was indeed black, okay? The whites, like they will inevitably do, reminded him that he was black, okay? Now, bitch, Camila Cabello's character was also attending Yale, and they had the nerve to have her speaking on racism, and I thought to myself that this had to have been intentional considering her racist ass past, but girl, I'm not going to dive too deeply into that. I am not a Camila Cabello fan. I know maybe some of her fans will see and be like, oh, well, she's changed, she's evolved. I'm sure she has, and I truly love that for her. However, it doesn't mean that I have to be on her bandwagon or in support of her. It wasn't that long ago that the bitch was online making racial slurs, okay? Okay, Sean's father Skeet, and first, let me say that Chidwell acted his motherfucking ass off in this role, okay? Then I want to say that his character was whack for burdening his son while he was trying to create his own path. He put the weight of his jail sentence onto the shoulders of his son, who did not ask to fucking be here. Sean continues to try to help his father, but the judge wasn't having that shit. Jackie tells Sean that Skeet was abusive. Okay, so Sean finds this out and it changes things for him. It changes his perspective of his father. It even makes him question if whether or not his father actually killed these two girls. So Sean at this point is dating Camila Cabello's character, and he has a beautiful moment that he shares about himself as a kid. When he would sit on the porch, he would dream about being on the beach and how he needs to find that peace within himself as an adult. Sean then finds out that his father has brain cancer while he's in prison, and he tells him that since he studies cancer, that he's gonna help his father to obtain a medication that'll allow him to live longer. He starts dealing drugs, marijuana to be exact, to make money for his dad to run some tests. He's also testing out some marijuana, okay, that could also help his father. His professor, who really just believes in him, she like got him a job at the school, on the campus. She really believes in him, and she finds out that Sean is dealing drugs and he was using some of the lab equipment to do so. She rescinds her recommendations for him, which means no post-grad programs for him for a while. He also loses his girlfriend, Camila Cabello's character. He goes to the hospital to see his dad, who is dying. This was a crazy moment, guys. It was also just well acted. He tells his father that he needs to know if he killed those two women. Of course, that made his dad upset and emotional, and his dad asked, what difference does it make? And I'm like, girl, first of all, your fucking son has been planning his life, making horrible fucking decisions based on your jail sentence. He has every right to know. It makes a big fucking difference, and you need to tell him. Okay, so Sean says he needs to know. This scene, once again, was brilliantly acted by both actors. It made me emotional. His dad does not answer him, and Sean says that he doesn't want to let his dad go, but if he doesn't tell him the truth, that he'll have to let him go. They're both crying, and Sean, who is angry and sad, ends up leaving. His father ends up dying. Fast forward to 2004, Sean and his friends are looking to invest into their neighborhood. Things are going so well. Sean is the coach of a swim team. He's also teaching science at the prep school he attended as a kid. His mom encouraged him to go to grad school and to stop trying to save his old neighborhood that he's already won, because his father was a convicted felon and he is not. And I commend his mom for encouraging him to move on. His former teacher also encouraged him to move on, to let go of his fucking past and to soar. You know, it's they wanted Sean to start his own life, but Sean just couldn't let go of this old neighborhood in New Jersey. He just couldn't let it go. Sean later learns from his father's friend that his father was likely innocent of killing these two women. He was pissed with his mother for not telling him, and she had no regrets for not telling him. She said that she needed to choose between Sean and his dad, and she chose Sean, and bitch, kudos forever and fucking ever to black women. All she wanted was her son to get out, okay? So Sean and his two friends, they had been investing in their old neighborhood. Things were going well, and then 2008 happened, where that fucking horrible fucking, the economy crashed, the recession took place, and they lost all their money, and they ended up owing money. So Sean, instead of just going to grad school, he decides to stick around and get some of the money back, and he does it by selling drugs in a very dangerous neighborhood where there were gangs selling drugs, and they were doing well, and they were fucking dangerous. One of his friends who had a son, he ends up paying him the money that they made together from selling the weed, and he is no longer doing it, the guy who has son, but now it's only Sean and his friend left. And one of the guys that they were dealing with goes and tells one of the gangs who he's dealing with and who he's getting his supply from, and they end up finding Sean and his friend, and they killed them. And guys, oh, this was so heartbreaking. I didn't even want to do this video because it's just so sad that this young man who was so fucking bright took on the burden of his father. Now, if you think about it, if he didn't take on the burden of his father, if he wasn't trying to get his father out, I'm not sure that he would have been so invested. His father also wasn't so encouraging of him. I don't know the real story and how different it is from the movie, but if it's anything like the movie, his father was not encouraging of him to get out of the neighborhood, to get out of the area, to get out of the fucking hood. You know, instead, he was more concerned about him. And that to me was just really sad. I'm not going to get into detail, but for a long time, I took on the burden of my parents and I got the fuck out, bitch. Okay, I got the fuck out as an adult. And I think so many children or so many adults with their parents feel like they need to take on their parents' burden. Oh, this is your family. Yes, of course. But we have to live our own lives. We have to live our own lives. We cannot continue to take on the burdens of our parents. We have to soar. We have to branch off and see for ourselves what the world is like. We owe it to ourselves. And a lot of parents of that older generation, bitch, they're selfish as fuck. Like, they're selfish as fuck. So you have to, at some point, choose yourself over your parents, guys. We cannot take on the burdens of our parents. It doesn't matter what age you are, guys. At some point, you have to let that shit go, or it's gonna drag you the fuck down. And as sad as it sounds, Sean's father dragged him down. And he died because of it. And he was a smart, intelligent man. And he's no longer with us. And it breaks my fucking heart. It really breaks my heart, man. Shit. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking because, like, it just really, man, yo, he was so bright. Guys, talk to me in the comments. I really want to know what you think, okay?